Tree Country 1330 WTRE at 7:30. It's Thursday morning. We've got Mayor Marsh with us. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Emily, and happy Thursday, everyone.
What a beautiful day out.
It is gorgeous, and we were just talking about this out the studio window. The crops are starting to peek through the ground, and I was driving down I-74 the other day, and you could see some corn popping up. And
spring is here.
It is. Everybody's getting their flowers out, getting ready. Everybody's getting antsy.
That's right.
It's time to go.
It's time to go. Surely the frosting and freezing is done. I'm going to go with it.
I wear a lot of hats. Meteorologist is not one of them.
It is not one of them?
No.
You just have to make a guess.
That's right.
It's a 50-50 shot.
It looks like it's going to be sunny today, maybe partially sunny with sun.
Okay, got it. We're good to go. You've had this is the slower part of the month always. First couple weeks are always busier.
Yeah, we always have the meetings to cover the first couple weeks, but the good part about this week, I guess you could say, is I think we'll see. It's always an asterisk, but I think we're going to finally start to see some CCMG, the Community Crossings Matching Grant road pavement work begin maybe as early as next week. So be on the lookout for that. It is about to become a road construction season locally, which is great. I don't know if anybody's traveled I-74 recently.
I quit it.
You quit?
I quit it.
You quit traveling I-74?
I did, yes.
I was westbound on Tuesday, and then I obviously came back Tuesday night, and it is quite a mess. Not one to complain about infrastructure improvements. I'm a big champion of that. Want to see that. We need to do it. We must do it. Everybody wants great roads. Nobody wants the road construction that makes great roads. So I will continue to be an advocate for it, but it's a mess. And it's a big, long stretch all the way from our interchange at Walmart all the way up through between the interstate or Highway 9 and the Shelbyville Casino exit is where it finally...
it goes that far? It goes past the 9?
I think it goes past 9, yeah. And so it passed Cracker Barrel, and then it gets better, or then it returns to normal, and then they're rebuilding the bridge there by the Five Below center. So
that's right.
Their distribution center, so they're working on that. Yeah.
Just a lot of construction happening.
There's a lot, and it is a 55-mile-an-hour zone from here up through Shelbyville, and they are doing the camera enforcement activity. So just as a heads up, if you are speeding, then they will just send you a ticket.
Just mail it right to you.
They'll just mail it right
easy.
to you. And I think it's $150 a time. You won't necessarily see the camera. You won't know it'll just show up in the mail. It's like a follow-up surprise.
So just don't speed.
Yeah, so you have to be very careful, and we should be. It's a work zone. We want to be careful. We want to be cognizant. Just like anybody else, it's one of those habits you get into, right? You schedule time. I'm a schedule-driven person, so if it's going to take me an hour to get to Indianapolis, I'll leave 1 hour and 1 minute before I need to be there. That's not the case anymore. Now it's an hour and 25-minute drive to Indianapolis, so just keep that in mind. We want to be careful with the workers. We want to be sure that they get home to their families. We want to be, non-distracted driving like we should be anyway. But it's going to be like that for 3 years. So it's going to change around. They're building the crossovers. So at one point in time, for a pretty super majority of the project, it will be one lane each way on one side. So they're putting the concrete barriers down the middle of the eastbound lanes right now, and it's a long stretch of just one single lane. I know our public safety crews have been working with NDOT and the contractor and trying to make sure that everybody's aware, because as we know, when you are down to one lane each way, you're using the shoulders.
Right.
And getting emergency response vehicles into that zone is very, very, very challenging and time-consuming and dangerous, and it shuts down the interstate. There's no going around at that point, so we need extra attention to be paid for sure, but I-74 is going to be a disaster. It is a disaster. Just get used to it.
It is what it is. Live with it. That's all we can do.
That's I'm talking to myself here.
Right.
I'm going to go back and listen to this later today and just remind myself
that it's going to be okay.
It is going to be fine, and we're going to have to get used to it.
Or you can quit it like I did.
Yeah.
It takes a little longer.
It takes, I don't even know. I mean, I know you could go to like Edinburgh and up or something, but whoa.
Yeah.
Or go all the way up to 9, I guess.
Yeah.
That would be.
It could get sticky.
Yeah. So
But our Freeland Road, right? There's hope.
There's hope that Freeland Road will begin next week. Once again, that is going to be a very, we all know that that's a very busy, complicated, convoluted section of streets with lots of drives and access points and left turns, and everybody's now either got to get some chicken or an iced coffee or maybe a Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's sandwich, something like that. So just be careful, be cognizant when the lines go away. I know there's not a lot of great lines there now, but when it's big, flat, and brand new asphalt, it will get a little hectic and a little crazy. I was trying to turn out of the Starbucks, Jimmy John's, and Jersey Mike's strip there the other day, and
it gets challenging, doesn't it? It
gets challenging, and there are lines to guide people. So when the lines go away, it's going to be the Wild Wild West. So again, be attentive, be careful. Think about how we've done it for the last 25 years and try to replicate that. We will try to get lines back as soon as possible. But that is not something that happens the day the pavement goes down. It's a whole separate contractor. It's a whole separate schedule. They're aware that we would like to see them move quickly. There may even be so many day delay because of the material and stick. I don't know the answer to that, but just be cognizant and careful of that. That is supposed to, the schedule says start next week, but of course, looks like it could be raining all next week. We'll see.
So close.
So close. And then we do have a bunch of other streets that are going to be worked on this year as well. So if you want to go take a look at our social media, there's a bunch of information on there. We're doing quite a bit of milling and filling this year where we go and grind out the pavement. We're doing some microsurfacing, which is like that kind of high-level pavement preservation. We're doing 2 full-blown neighborhoods of that. So I think we're going to see a lot of great progress this year. We've already seen ADA curb ramp being installed in those areas that have curbs that are doing full mill and fills. So great work's being made when it comes to pavement projects. And then, we'll get that over with for the summer, and that'll probably be it because we're down to 1 application per year. The state changed that. We used to do 2, so there was always a little bit of hope maybe we would do another one this fall. The award for 2020, what is now going to be called 2027-1, will be available in July. I highly, highly doubt that we get that work done in 2026, so we'll probably look for that in 27.
All right. Well, and it's the season, so
it is.
We know there will be frustration, but
there will be. And then, of course, one of the things too, somebody brought up the other day, the section of North Broadway. We've talked about this between Smith Road. So if you go past Rural King, Smith Road's the road that curves off to the left, and then obviously Veterans Way is built across the other side of Edgewater Apartments, and there's the section of street that people believe to be Broadway between Smith Road and Veterans Way. That section, if you drive out through there, it's in bad shape. It's rough, and we've had people say, like, what's the deal with that? That is actually not owned by the city. It is owned by Edgewater Apartments. It has never been a city street. It is not a city street. So it is currently closed because I don't know whether they are going to repair that or they're just closing it or what their plan is because that's their property. So just as a heads up, that section is closed. I don't know what they're doing with it, but it's also owned by Edgewater. It is not a city street. So
you have no jurisdiction over that stretch.
We have no jurisdiction over it. It is not public right-of-way. And quite frankly, at this point, we don't really want it because it needs a lot of work. If for some reason we were going to tackle that, it would be a local project award, meaning it would be federal funds, and that's what we're using. It would be 80-20. That's what we are using on Park Road. So we are missing Phase 5 of Park Road funding yet. We have Phases 1 through 4 funded already. We're applying for Phase 5 at the beginning of next year. That will probably be awarded for somewhere around 2030. I think we're at 2032 now. So if you think about how would we apply that to Broadway, well, we would apply, after Phase 5, and then that would be 2034 or 2035. So more than a decade away, if we were even going to tackle that as a local project. So I just don't foresee that happening, and you'll have to take Smith Road and go on around.
That's right. As of right now, that's not your responsibility. So
yes,
but there's barricades up, so pay attention.
Yeah, for sure. But that's their right, if you will. It's their road. They can choose to do that. Or it's their driveway. Maybe we shouldn't call it a road. That's probably a better way to do it. It's their drive. They do have other access points, but that's something that just tell all your friends and neighbors when they're like, why isn't that getting fixed? It's up to them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not a city street. Heavy Trash Week is coming up.
It is. It's hard to believe, but we're still a month away. May 18th is the start of Heavy Trash Week. Again, as usual, there was information in the utility bills for April, so hopefully you opened your utility bills, dug that out, took a look. It told you what isn't heavy trash, what the plan is. There's information also available for that on our website and social media, so please feel free to go take a look at that. I am going to remind people that we are way too early to be setting it out. You will get a tag and a ticket and a fine. We do not need to be setting out stuff a month in advance. I know some stuff is popping up on the curbs. We are not going to allow that. It needs to be within a few days of heavy trash, not a few weeks. So we will be ticketing and tagging those items. If you have placed stuff out for heavy trash already, you may want to reoccupy some garage space with that or make other arrangements, because we are far too early for that to be stacked up on the curb and awaiting a May 18th start date. So just fair warning, and we have these tags that the street department guys will put on stuff, and then if it is still there after so many days, then we will come get it, but we will send you a very hefty bill. So you probably should not do that.
Not yet. It's not time.
It is not time. It is a service that we like to provide. We want to be able to do it. We want to continue to do it. But it's sort of like the bringing stuff in from out of town, and all these the commercials and huge amounts of construction debris. This is we're trying not to abuse the privilege, abuse the service that's provided. I understand that everybody that pays the trash shipping fees contributes to it, and that's great. But we also need to be respectful of the community and not have it stacked up for a month in advance.
Yes, so please be respectful, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Oh, the community cookouts are going to be kicking off here before too long.
It is the season of getting things up and running, as we've been talking about. So yeah, the first one is going to be May 21st. It's going to be 5 to 7 p.m. It's going to be out at Joram Drive in 5th. So if you think about, it's sort of just east of the fire station. So it's between the fire station and Lincoln Street, and then just east of KB. So it's in that neighborhood there. We were scheduled to be there last year, and it got rained out. As everyone's well aware, we don't really do rain dates for these. We had some folks in the neighborhood reach out and ask if it was going to get rescheduled, and we said it's
very hard to orchestrate.
Yeah, and we want to do them. We're excited to do them, but also then we bump into the next one, and we're having 2 in 2 weeks, and etc. And just we want to be sure folks know what's going on. So we just don't really do rain dates for these. The May 25th or 21st date is going to be in that neighborhood. Got rained out, so we're going back there this year. Hopefully we have great weather and a great turnout. We're excited about it. That'll be the first one of the year. And of course, we've got the one out in Rebecca Park on June 13th. That's the one that includes the 5K for the Canine fundraiser. We talked about that last week. They're raising some dollars for the Canine Fund, and to look at adding the therapy dog component to our canine force. So lots of really great opportunities to get involved in that. Of course, then the fair is in July. We do a community public safety night at the fair. National Night Out in August will be here before we know it. And then we've got the Fall Festival. And then there's one more after that. So it's a full summer, full calendar. And should be good. Should be a lot of fun.
It's kind of crazy when spring gets here and our calendars start to fill up, and then we realize summer is booked. It's done.
And that is pretty true. I had some folks asking for some dates, and May is already crazy. And I was like, I think we're already working into June, especially for a bigger block of time. And that is hard to believe, but it just when the days get longer, it seems like they get shorter.
That's
so,
right.
Away we're going. But the community cookouts are always a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing those. Our team likes doing them. It's a great way to get out into neighborhoods and stand on the streets and talk to folks and see what's going on.
It's a good time to interact, I think, for entire families, kiddos included. You know.
It's a great, free event. And I really like them, and they're enjoyable, they're fun. I think in my entire 10-year, I think I've only had to miss 2. So it's been, we get them scheduled, we figure out the dates in, generally about February, and where we're going, and we try to cover the city. I think if you look on a map, we've done a pretty good job of trying to be everywhere. We've figured out some styles that we think we like better, which includes that when we started doing them, we were sort of doing them in parking lots, and we like the street fair component of it a little bit. It's a little bit more controlled, and it's a little bit more neighborhood oriented, and we definitely get into residential areas a lot easier than doing them in the parking lots. And so it's I think we've got a good model, and probably something that other people should try to replicate, I think.
We look forward to them. We enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're good. The owner-occupied grant is back open.
It is. So this is round 2. So if you recall, I think in late 24, we were awarded $300,000 from OCRA, the Office of Community Rural Affairs, to do owner-occupied rehabilitation, which is for people that own their homes, occupy their homes, low to moderate income individuals, and then it is restricted to roofing, HVAC, heating and air, water heaters, radon, and ADA compliant to the front of the home. So there is, I think we've helped 12 households and families, which is great. We're excited to see that. They did that in 2025. And there's about enough funding left to maybe do 4, maybe 5 more, depending on what the projects are. That application process has reopened. It is, I think, supposed to be open through tomorrow, but I think we're going to extend it 1 more week. So if you're interested in that, information again is available on our website. Information is available for pickup at City Hall, and there's an online application form as well. There is an income verification component, but the initial form is a lot simpler than that, and then they do an initial review. ARA, Administrative Resource Associates, does our grant administration for a lot of our grants. So the OOR program is one of those. We, being the city, are only slightly involved in that the funds have to kind of flow through us, and we have to sign off on the grantee in the process, but we're really not involved in the actual administration of the grant. So they have ARA has a building inspector that is working through the grant process. They do the on-site inspections, they do the reviews, they work on getting the contractors for the individual homes and homeowners. So it's a great process. If you or somebody you have to live inside the city of Greensburg, you have to be low to moderate income, you have to own and live in the home, and it cannot be a home that is not on a permanent foundation. So mobile homes do not qualify. It has to be on a permanent foundation. Those are the big barriers, but we've been able to help 12. People have gotten new roofs and new heating and cooling, which is great.
It's such a great investment back into the community.
Yeah, we were awarded, maybe I think it was $350,000, and then we had to put up $50,000 locally. So, making a real investment, really a great ROI in grant dollars. If you put up 50 and you get 350 back into your community, that's great. It's helping people stay in their homes. It's helping housing affordability. So I think that we're in a really good spot with it. We'll probably do it again, I hope, at some point in time in the near future. It's been pretty successful, but again, we have the grant window open. If you're interested in applying, please do so. And I think it'll be open through next week at this point.
All right, very good.
Take a look at that.
All right, as we move through springtime, we've kind of been waiting on the apartments downtown. Do we have any update on the groundbreaking there?
I do not have a date, but they have filed for permits, which is great. We're glad to see that. They've sent their stuff off to the state. So that's actually on my list to do probably yet this week, is see if we can coordinate that date with them, what they're looking for, what they're looking at. But we're moving, which I think all hurdles have been cleared, which is a great thing to hear. And we've been working on it for years.
Yes.
Trying to check all the boxes and do all the things. For sure. I'm actually not with Ironman, but next Friday, the Indiana Economic Development Association's annual conference is in Bloomington. And so I am speaking on a panel down there about that project and what kind of, what does it take and what do communities look for and what are we excited about and hurdles. And not that we're an expert by any means, I guess you could say, because we don't build, we don't do these projects every day, but there's a lot of, oftentimes you hear these comparisons of, or you see the news stories of, well, XYZ communities getting $100 million apartment complex, or they're doing this $150 million downtown development. But most of Indiana is more like us, right? Like we maybe do one project like this a decade, or we haven't done any before. And now how do small communities muster resources, get the right players at the table, find really good partners to work with? And so that's my role on the panel, is to, represent small size cities in rural Indiana, because there's a lot more like us and very few like the other examples that, have a growth rate of multi-digit, 2-3-4 2-digit growth rates, $100+ million projects. A lot of times, communities are much more interested in how do somewhere between 10 and 25,000 population cities work through these projects. So glad they asked. We're going to be on that. I'm going to be on that with a different developer than the one that's doing ours, but I am familiar with them. And we had a great call the other day with their CEO and kind of just talked about what it is they're looking for and what governments are doing and what the needs are. Of course, READY, the Regional Acceleration and Development Initiatives, have been very helpful in these projects. There's a lot of demand for government subsidies in all of these development projects these days, and what's that look like with Senate Enrolled Act 1? What's that look like with TIF, tax increment finance revenue? What's that look like when we're talking about land prices and infrastructure cost? It is a rapidly changing environment and market. So it'll be interesting to always learn, you always get invited, I guess, to speak on a panel if you have something to offer, which great.
Sure.
But you always learn a ton too. And when you get to have conversations, when you get to drive the conversation with, industry experts, then it definitely makes a difference. And this one will be good too, because the economic development side is something I always find interesting, and this is their annual conference. And I've spoken on panels for all kinds of stuff over the last 5 or 6 years, and you always learn something.
That's right. Always take something away. I think, when you look across the state of Indiana or just the country, housing and economic development are the two biggest challenges I think that everybody's facing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was having a conversation last weekend with somebody from Minnesota, and maybe he's from Michigan. But anyway, his community, we was talking about commissioners, and I was like, well, how many commissioners you guys? He said 21. And I said 21. He's like, well, we have 700,000 people that live in our county. And so like they were a suburb of, I think it was Michigan, but they were a suburb of like Lansing. And they were like, yeah, okay. So that's sort of like they have a different style of government than Indiana does. So it was interesting to talk side by side. But yeah, he was talking about, well, we're still looking at housing and where does it go, and development, and people are concerned about farmland being, and it's like, boy, all of the exact same similarities here, just there, and people need some place to live. Life expectancies are getting longer. 70% of Hoosiers live in a city or town. So if you think about that, 70% of the population lives in an incorporated city or town.
That's higher than I expected.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
Right? And when we talk about Indiana being an ag-based community or state, it is. We generate a lot of ag. But people don't live on farms anymore, right? A super majority of people don't live on farms. And so there's that balance, that pull between, agriculture and urban and rural and suburban and everything and anything in between. And there is less demand for 10-acre lots. There's less demand for 5-acre lots and less demand for 1-acre lots. People want less maintenance, less overhead. The cost, the affordability to build and own, that is changing dramatically. So there is definitely a lot of discussion, and it goes coast to coast on housing availability and affordability everywhere you go.
Sure does.
It's all just different.
Liberty Lakes, those houses seem to still be popping up.
They are popping up. I took somebody through there earlier this week on a drive, and it is one of those things where it seems like we're just clicking right along, which is great. They were putting the roof on one yesterday, and they've got some foundations still poured, so they're moving right along. The schedule when they broke ground on that was to be built out in 3 years. I don't see why they wouldn't hit that by the end of 2027. So we've got a ways to go yet, but that also means what's next. We started in on that neighborhood because we were out of house lots. So when that neighborhood's done, we're going to be back to being out of house lots. Took us about 3 years to get from concept to from dirt movement. So we're a little bit behind on getting the next one rolling. So we're talking with some folks about that. Seneca Landing, which is the 55 building, 110 doorknob duplex community on top of the hill there at Moscow Road and Veterans Way. Dirt moving equipment is on site there.
It is.
So that's a rental option versus a purchase option. So that is, obviously making some progress too. So that may allow for some population availability, but not ownership availability. So we're still moving with that too.
That's right. There's lots of dirt work going on right now, and you can really see. The season is upon us. So.
Yeah, I thought about that the other day when I was stuck in traffic coming down 74, going to the second exit, and when you look with the hotel being built, the dirt work that's happening with Seneca Landing, and then Liberty Lakes, all of that between the two exits, right? That fits in a 1.8 mile stretch. You're like, oh, hey, look, Greensburg's on the move because there's a lot going on right on our front door, which helps build excitement, which helps build interest, and helps tell our story. We're going to be at the National Retail Show next month, and we're obviously taking our housing study that says there's a demand, and we're taking our retail gap analysis, which we're finishing up, and saying, look, there's a demand, and here's where it goes, and here's where it fits. And some conversations with out-of-state individuals are picking up some steam because of those two documents, and some proof on the ground truthing that, look, we are building these units, people are investing money, people are buying homes, and we're pulling in the right direction. Doesn't mean all the wheels can't fly off. I hope they don't, but we've, I think, got the train moving.
And for those that don't realize, that the point of going to that is to network. It's to network and try to bring new businesses to Greensburg.
Yeah, there's that whole the retail sector is a wild beast in that the end user. So think of your favorite franchise wants a space that is ready for them to move into, but they don't build that space, and the developer, which is the person who actually builds the space, wants an end user to be guaranteed. And then they both want to know exactly where it's going. And so you have to sort of play all three. Like you have to sort of say, okay, well, here's where it should go. Developer, would this work for you? And you have to work with them on that. The end user, the franchise of your choice, wants to make sure that the numbers work. They're not going to do anything until they know what the numbers are from the developer. The developer's not going to do anything until the end user tells them what they're going to do. And they're not going to do anything until they know where we are. So yes, our role in that is to remind them not only where the state of Indiana is, but why they need to be in Southeast Indiana and why they very specifically need to be at exit 132 or 134. Like we have to make the entire world revolve around that.
It has to all, and it has to all fall into place. I think that description maybe helps explain to people why when we're looking for something to come to town, it takes time. It's not overnight. And
the amount of actual control we have over that is just about zero. In that I know people constantly on Casey's, rebranded, which is great. They didn't build another gas station, they rebranded a gas station. So we get to add a national brand, which helps that conversation. Zaxby's is a national brand, Culver's, Jimmy John's. The national brands that we had, Marshall's was a huge get for the retail conversations. Harbor Freight as well. So like those things that we may not, well, I didn't want that. Okay, that's fine. But having these in our community help those conversations. but we have very limited control over what actually comes. Our duty is more to show them why they need to invest here, and we can target developers and end users that we would like to see, and we do. Trust me, we do not solicit any gas stations. You have my full word on that. Now, the one may be people ask about Buc-ee's all the time, so I guess we'll always asterisk it, right? But
okay.
We don't go out soliciting gas stations, and we tend to shy away from pizza restaurants and those kinds of things. I live here like everybody else. I'm aware of what we've got a lot of and what we need, and what I think we need, and what the data tells us we need. So yes, it takes a little bit more of than just saying hi. It takes
come to town. Here we are.
It's a lot of work. I probably do some kind of tour of our community with somebody once every 2 weeks on average. Sometimes we do 3 in a week, and sometimes we don't do any in a month, right? But again, it really depends on the season. But I'd say on average, we probably do a driving site visit in our community once every 2 weeks, and keep everybody updated on what's going on and where it's at, and all the wild questions that they may have, including utility locations for something, et cetera, et cetera. So we work at it. It's just behind the doors, and a lot of times they don't come to fruition.
We just wait and see what happens, right?
That's right.
And when something new pops up, we get excited.
We do.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Very good. All right. Anything else this week, Mayor Marsh?
I don't think so. Everyone have a fantastic week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you next week, if not before.
All right. 801 on Tree Country, 1330.